then grabs his arm. And I know as soon as Bucky saw that, he started getting flashbacks to Civil War. He started thinking about Spider-Man, but he was about to do him way worse than Spider-Man. He rips this nigga's arm off and slaps him with it, sends him flying. Hey, it's Move the Lazy God, and we're back with another banger. But this time, it's Marvel. My first ever live action video. Turns out it'll be the Thunderbolts. I'm not gonna lie, Thunderbolts is heat, straight heat. It's been a while since I've double Marvel related, so it's about time we come back to some heat. So we start off with Yelena on top of this building. And if you don't know who she is, it's okay, because I don't know who she is either. So apparently, she comes from Black Widow. She's a Red Room assassin, and she's an adopted sister of Black Widow. She's also featured in Hawkeye, because she thought Clint killed her sister in Endgame. So we know she's not the most moral person. And we get to witness that she dives off the building, seemingly not giving a damn about her life. But don't worry, she's been playing Warzone because she's got her parachute. Turns out all of this is a part of a mission. She jumped off the giant ass building to land on another building. Not sure why she didn't just climb the other building, but whatever. I guess she just wanted an ore farm. Anyway, she lands on the building and starts fighting these guards. And she pieces their ass up, let them on the floor, slumped his ass. Anyway, she enters the building straight into a Daredevil hallway scene. And if you ever watch Daredevil, you know as soon as he gets into that hallway, he starts getting a boost in every category. They start scrapping for real. And now her ass is on some Ninja Kamui shit. She on some Batman Arkham Knight shit. She really piecing up all these niggas like it's child's play. After she knocks all of them out, like prime Mike Tyson, we see her in the room talking to a guard with duct tape on his mouth. You're probably wondering, since she's so heavy-handed, why hasn't she knocked this nigga out already? Why she leave him still standing? Well, it turns out she needs some facial recognition to enter this room. Apparently, the whole mission's for her to possibly retrieve what's ever in that room. So I guess she tried this guard, but it didn't work. But before she can finish what she was talking about, a scientist pops in with a gun. What this nigga think this is? Resident Evil? He working for an umbrella corporation or something? Nah, but for real, he actually working for this company called Ox. Basically, he tells us whatever is behind that wall, you do not want to see. So what's behind that wall is called Project Sentry. And he would rather unalive himself and let her get his facial recognition to open up the door, which is exactly what he does. After Yelena and the scientists have a Scooby-Doo chase for a while, which honestly, I don't even know how he lost track of her. She was literally right in front of you, but you look the opposite direction? Like, nigga, she is not the Flash. Anyways, they get into a little scuffle and he pops himself in the face so she can't get the facial recognition. So she reports back to her boss, Valentina, that the mission is complete and the building blows up. And at that time, I'm like, what the fuck? Wasn't the mission to get whatever was inside that door? But I didn't think about it too much at the time. So on the next thing we go to, we see Valentina on trial. And it's apparently because she's been conducting inhumane scientific experiments. So Valentina and her assistant Mal are basically trying to clear their search history before they get caught, which includes everything that was in that building. So Valentina hired a Red Room assassin to kill the guards and scientists she hired. Bro, she moving like Emperor Palpatine. That's crazy. You hired them. They protecting your assets. Yet you hire assassin to murk them? I got a feeling she gonna be moving slimy. So Yelena visits her dad, and long story short, she has been put through the ringer and she's basically depressed. Her dad is like, oh, just work harder, you'll be happy. It makes me happy. He says that because they're both looking for some meaning in their life because they both feel empty inside. So Yelena asks Valentina if she can be revealed to the public, if she can stop being a hitman and start being more like a hero, like Black Widow or like an Avenger. So Valentina's like, all right, do one last mission for me and I'll give you the position you want. All you gotta do is stop somebody from stealing assets from me and in a deserted location. Okay, so what I'm getting is Valentina is basically Stan Edgar from The Boys, and Yelena's like, Starlight? Nah, I don't know. I guess you could make the comparison to Nick Fury, but Nick Fury never really owned the Avengers. It always felt like they were their own separate entity, or like maybe at least bare minimum adjacent to S.H.I.E.L.D. So she enters the building and gets attacked by John Walker, aka Thrift Store Captain America. So I never watched Falcon and the Winter Soldier, but I had to do some research to catch up. So I'm gonna try and do a quick recap. So at the end of Endgame, Steve let Sam be the new Captain America, but Sam feeling pressured like he could never reach the standards that were set by Steve, also being concerned if America would accept a black Captain America, he decided to hand the shield to the government. Government was like, the world could still use this hope that Captain America gave them, and they decided to choose to elect another Captain America, and that Captain America became John Walker. So everything goes fine until the Flag Smashers come into the picture. The Flag Smashers are a group of like super soldier terrorists who feel like life was better during the blip. And if you don't know what the blip is when Thanos erased half of existence. However, now that the blip is over, the government had to accommodate for the people who were blip, leaving the people who were not blip kind of high and dry. And that's what the Flag Smashers consist of, mostly the people who were not blip. So John and Bucky all have the goal of stopping the Flag Smashers, but Sam and Bucky don't like John, despite him not really doing anything wrong. I mean, he assisted them in fighting the Flag Smashers and saved their life. He gave them a free ride. He bailed them out of jail and didn't arrest them for freeing a terrorist. So later on, he gets his ass beat by the Wakandans for trying to arrest that said terrorist, and the terrorist just escapes the scuffle entirely. We're fighting over a terrorist to see who gets to lock him up, and the terrorist gets away. So after that, John takes the super soldier serum and he chases the Flag Smashers. But the Flag Smashers were prepared. They ambushed John Walker and killed his best friend. So the leader of the Flag Smashers, Carly, gets away, but one of her associates gets caught. And after John catches this terrorist, who may or may not have been surrendering, John publicly unalives him. After this, the world views him as a monster. So later on, Sam and Bucky jump him and beat his ass for the shield. Then he gets stripped of his rank, he gets dishonorably discharged. With nowhere left to turn, he basically just becomes a cheap mercenary for Valentina. Okay, that recap wasn't as short as I thought it was gonna be. Alright, time for her speed bits. Task Woman is basically a woman who can copy any move that she sees. She was being mind controlled and was basically antagonist to Black Widow because Black Widow killed her father, who was the leader of the Red Room. And the Red Room is basically a place in Russia where young women get groomed to become child assassins. The same place where Yelena is from. So the Red Room is not to be messed with. But the Red Room doesn't even exist anymore. But the Red Room was tired, I guess, of not existing. So it tries to have a grand reopening. And Black Widow is like, hell nah. So Black Widow stops the grand reopening and frees Taskmaster from his mind control. Oh, sorry. Her mind control. I'm just so used to Taskmaster being a boy. So she only knows how to be an assassin. So I'm guessing she decided to become a mercenary for Valentina so she can do what she can do best, but technically be the good guy. Alright, next up is Ghost. Ghost is a SHIELD laboratory experiment that can phase through walls and go invisible. She becomes the main antagonist of Ant-Man and the Wasp when she tries to steal the thing that could cure her, but instead, she teams up with Ant-Man and the Wasp where the Wasp's mother cures her. And now she can control her powers at will, I guess. Wait, wasn't she already doing that? Whatever. Oh yeah, and there's also this guy named Bob who popped out of a container during the scuffle, and John looks at the container like, damn, this nigga is really a Spartan from Halo or something. He's the real John. He's John 117. Nah, I'm just kidding. So now that we've got those recaps out of the way, they start fighting each other, and it turns into Mortal Kombat, it turns into a Battle Royale, it turns into a GTA lobby. So the reason all of them are fighting each other is because Yelena hired one another to take each other out. And it turns out that this secret facility ain't even a facility, it's an incinerator. And Valentina was actually trying to get rid of them because they count as her assets too. Before Valentina can turn these niggas into a well-done Japanese steakhouse, they managed to escape, but they go into another room. And with that room they go into, the only way out is a long pipe upwards. With none of them being able to get out, Bob comes up with the idea for them to stand back to back and slowly waddle their way upward. In the meantime, Valentina's assistant is double-crossing her, telling all of her plans straight to Bucky. So we cut back to the group, and these niggas stolen the pipe, no Diddy. And even worse, they start arguing on who should jump first. They start arguing like this is a 90s sitcom or something. Finally, John decides to jump since he's the closest to the door, and he's the only one who's actually facing the door. But once he jumps, they all start falling off faster than Chance the Rapper. But all well ends well because John manages to save them somehow. So now that they're finally on the top of the tower and finally on solid land, you'd think they'd be exhausted after spending hours crawling. I mean, seriously, it was daytime when they went in there, and now it's nighttime. No caps, my legs would have got exhausted halfway while we were doing the spider crawl, and we would have all fell to our deaths. But that would have been alright for Yelena, because at least she'd be following her big sister's footsteps. Anyways, Valentina is moving like Prime King Von. She got the whole armed militia waiting outside. She's the whole entirety of O-Block waiting for them, ready to blick these niggas up as soon as they exit the door. So Ghost is like, oh hell nah, Ghost dips out. I mean, no one's gonna see her anyway. So Yelena comes up with a plan to let them come inside by starting an explosion. How did they start this explosion is beyond me. I don't know, these niggas have SpongeBob, regular show Toon Force, I guess. So after the explosion, Yelena goes to turn the lights off. Only problem is the explosion probably broke some essential component, making it impossible for Yelena to turn the lights off. And you can just call John Pluto. You can call him Future because he predicted that the explosion would do that. Now John is sitting in the hallway waiting for her, like, turn off the lights, I'm looking for. But anyways, the lights didn't matter too much because John is a beast. He puts belts to their ass anyways, and the second fleet starts to push up. Second fleet shoots out smoke bombs, which only really ends up helping the good guys. Why didn't they just shoot out tear gas instead? I don't know, it's beyond me. So Yelena and Bob finally get back to the door to fight the second fleet. However, Bob is just kind of getting in the way, and Yelena beats the fleet while also keeping him out of harm's way. Bob has never used a gun before and accidentally starts airing it out on John. But don't worry, John still got a shield. That boy Bob got carried like Luigi in one of those videos where he does absolutely nothing. But to be fair, he's just a regular person, and definitely not a lab rat, an assassin since a child, or a super soldier. That's a lot of S's. So I'm guessing these guys are all Star Wars fans because they decide to wear their armor. Like they clone troopers or something. They hide in the armor to escape, and it works. They get out, but now they have nowhere to go. It's okay, because Ghost returns with a car. Turns out she didn't ghost them. Okay, I'll stop. So anyways, they try and hop in the whip and dip, but they get cock blocked. So seeing no way out, Bob hops out the whip and creates a distraction. The gang uses distraction to get away, but yeah, they RoboCop his ass. Bo starts getting blicked up from every angle. They give him the O-block treatment, but it looks like Bob isn't no normal human after all, because he gets up unfazed. Bro thinks he's an edit. He's been watching too much TikTok. He's been watching too much slowed and reverbed Yeet. So after that, bro just starts levitating and shoots up to the sky. So he's in the sky, and I'm guessing at this height, he's losing too much oxygen because he passes out and starts falling down. He hits the ground like a COD missile. And anyways, he gets distracted by Valentina's men. Turns out this dude Bob is Project Sentry, and he was the thing behind the door that Yelena couldn't open at the start of the movie. So let's do a quick recap on Bob. Bob was just a regular meth junkie. One of Valentina's men convinced him to take part of the Project Sentry serum. Everyone else in Project Sentry is presumably dead, so they were all going to get incinerated with the rest of Valentina's assets. Only problem was during the scuffle when Valentina's agents were fighting each other, John ended up accidentally opening a pod containing him where he turned out to still be alive. So meanwhile, the gang is in the middle of a deserted plane. You're probably wondering what happened to the car. Well, I'm pretty sure it got inadvertently blown up when Bob landed onto the ground like a tactical nuke. Yelena starts passing around class notes on what Project Sentry is, and now the plan is to save Bob from Valentina. Then they start having a group bonding sesh. John starts giving them freaking cactus to eat on. Like, bro, you've clearly not watched Avatar. You could never trust cactus juice. After that, it just skips to daytime. These dudes have been walking for hours, and they're still not tired. They really are a different breed. So tell me why Yelena's dad pulls up on them trying to warn them about Valentina. Like, nigga, you're a whole day late. But at least it provides them with fast travel. They hop in the whip and start moving, but they're not as safe as they thought they were, because Valentina men start pulling up, and they start pulling up in a tank. But just before these dudes get squashed like rodents, Bucky pulls up and saves the day. And apparently it's a Terminator reference, but I've never watched that shit, so I wouldn't really know. But Bucky also thinks that they're the bad guys and blows up their limo while capturing them in the progress. How did he drag these niggas to a secure location is beyond me. And more importantly, where the fuck is this secure location? So after that, Bucky decides to be the worst wingman in history. Bro mentions that John's wife left him and to the kids right in front of the hose. Like, bro, not in front of Russian fine shit. Then bro has the audacity to say it's your fault that happened. You fucking hoe. If I was John, I would have slapped the shit out of him right there. I sacrificed everything for you, bitch. I gave you free rides. I bailed you out of jail. I let you walk around with a terrorist and saved your life. All you've ever done is berate and belittle me on every single occasion. Just because I was assigned the new Captain America, you didn't even know me yet. Then you jumped me in a building and broke my arm. You were absolutely no help with the terrorists. You were no help with the flag smashers. You were no help when they killed my best friend. You were no help when I had to tell my best friends that their son was killed. And you were no help when the leader of the flag smasher said my best friend's life didn't matter and she didn't mean to kill him, because someone like that, life's matter didn't matter to her. Yeah, sorry Bucky, you're a human piece of garbage. You don't get to talk. Anyways, small rant aside, Bucky gets a call from Valentina's assistant and basically learned that Valentina plans on using Project Sentry to gain more political power. After hearing this news, Bucky knows what he has to do. Bucky decides he needs to team up with him, and Yelena's dad gets so excited about this. So Yelena's dad decides to call the group the Thunderbolts, which was apparently a Pee-wee soccer team that Yelena went to or whatever, I don't know. Oh, also, I guess I better do a quick recap on Yelena's dad. So Yelena's dad is a Russian super soldier formerly known as the Red Guardian. But unlike Captain America, who is a World War II soldier, Red Guardian was a little bit after that, being a Cold War soldier. After the collapse of the Soviet Union at the end of Cold War, he basically became a sad nobody. Like one of those kids who peaked in high school. He sits around doing nothing with his life but being a sad aging man. He's desperately clinging on to a time in life that doesn't exist anymore. He just wants to be seen as a hero like the likes of Captain America or Bucky, but he never gets the opportunity because political leaders intervening or megalomaniacal supervillains standing in the way. So this is the one time he can finally relive his glory days and be a hero again. So now that the Thunderbolts are assembled, the plan is to save, stop Valentina, and rescue Bob. And speaking of Bob, while the guys are assembling, Valentina is essentially manipulating Bob by telling him everything he wanted to hear in his life. That he doesn't have to be a nobody anymore. That he's special. And she's the only one who can help him reach his full potential. And Bob is of course falling for this. Valentina is basically playing the trope of the false parental figure. So with that being said, she's got Bob right in her pocket, wrapped around her little finger, and as long as she pretends to be the mother figure he never had, she can pretty much get away with anything. So they start doing a little training montage to, I guess, explain how he got so good with his powers. But even so, it doesn't explain that much. So the team pulls up on the Valentina, and they come in that joint like a side scroller beat 'em up. They come in that joint like it's Streets of Rage. They start using special moves. Hell, I think one of them picked up a pipe. But right as they beat up the guards, Valentina was like, "Come on guys, the door was open, my nigga. You could have just walked into the elevator." So they was like, "Oh, my fault." So they walk into the elevator and reach the top floor, and they just joined the worst day of their lives. Valentina must have been a retired battle rapper. She straight roasted these niggas. So John, that shield fake, huh? You got that from the dollar store. You talking about Bucky being stupid? At least it's kinda cute. And Red Guardian? Who's Red Guardian? Bro, she's put these niggas on a silver platter. These niggas extra crispy. Well done after this roasting. But anyways, after they get rage baited by her, and after she does her monologue and explains her evil plan for 5 minutes, the Thunderbolts are like, hell nah, they tired of this. They tired of this disrespect. They ready to rock her. They ready to knock her off the map. But they don't even get the chance because Bob shows up dripped out. He had a glow up. He coming that bitch with too much sauce. He knew and approved. Project Sentry is finally reality, and he is it. He's the perfect super soldier, the golden guardian good. Really though, he like a superhuman? He like a Superman? Or should I say more like a Homeland? And Valentina is Stan. Well, Ox is Vought? So basically, Valentina gives Sentry a new task. Wipe out the Thunderbolts. Yelena tries to calm them down, tries to use reason. I guess she had foresight, she had future vision or something, because she would know that these niggas are no match for Sentry. And she almost gets him to reason, but her dad is a crash out. He's like, bump all that talking, I'm trying to box, I'm trying to scrap. And Red Guardian's gonna wish he reasoned with Sentry, because bro gets his ass pushed into the wall, bounced off that shit like how Insomniac Spider-Man be bouncing niggas off concrete. He hit that nigga with the Arkham Asylum talk. Like bro, he's slumped already, he can't talk no more. John throws his shield, but it gets easily parried by Sentry, while blocking Ghost at the same time. Then John and Ghost start trying to scrap with him, but he just hits them with the Namek Goku push, sends those niggas flying. Bucky tries to shoot him with this weak ass machine pistol, but Sentry catches it midair like he's Neo or something. What was in this training montage? Matrix movies? And anyways, he sent that shit back with so much force, but luckily John blocks it with his shield, and they both go flying into the wall. Honestly though, if I was John, I would have let him get shot. No cap. After he disrespected me in front of the hoes, you know I'm dirty macking. Red Guardian pulls up with a knife. Yes, a knife. And he tries stabbing Sentry, but this nigga is like light work. He doesn't even react to it. And tosses this nigga out the window, but he holds him in place, stops him from falling, and tosses him back into the building, into a wall. John tries sneaking him, but he's clearly not sneaking nation. He turns this nigga shield into a taco shell, then socks that nigga and sends him flying. Bucky tries to get in the same knife play from Winter Soldier. Sorry, that weak ass shit don't work on Sentry. He's a different breed. He blocks all of them and weaves the last one, then Falcon punch this nigga, sends him flying. And one thing you gotta notice, the power level has to be so crazy because every single punch is sending them flying. This nigga must have maxed out his critical rate. He must have maxed out his knockback or something, but he's not finished. This nigga does a Dragon Ball combo, catching him mid-air just to send him flying down to the ground. He really wants these niggas to know that he's the most devious nigga to ever do it, that this is child's play, that this nigga is like Madara versus the 5 Kage. So Yelena, I guess she wants a piggyback ride because she never got one from her dad since he neglected her. The Sentry is like, nah, I ain't your daddy, and slams her into the ceiling. Then he grabs her fallen body and tosses her like a used towel. He tossed this bitch like how you toss a jacket after a long day of work. So Ghost tries to sneak him, but he gets her ass strangled. Then John tries to shoot him, but Sentry melts his gun with heat vision. That junk's so advanced you can't even see it. It just melts the gun. Red Guardian also tries to sneak him from behind, but Sentry throws a table at him, mind you, while he's still choking out Ghost. And I guess he wanted to give Ghost a partner, because now he's choking out John at the same time while choking Ghost. Then this nigga does an Undertaker double choke slam. They go flying like ragdolls. Only nigga left is Bucky, and Bucky must have really thought he was him. He must have really thought he was that nigga. He really thought he was about to do something, taking off his jacket and shit. Nigga, this Sentry. So he lets this nigga perform his weak ass combo, then grabs his arm. And I know as soon as Bucky saw that, he started getting flashbacks to Civil War. He started thinking about Spider-Man, but he was about to do him way worse than Spider-Man. He rips this nigga's arm off and bitch slaps him with it, sends him flying. So yeah, needless to say, he bodied these niggas, and it wasn't even close. They scurry away to the elevator like little rats. And it's kind of adorable and hilarious that they started the fight and run away like scared little roaches. But Valentina's like, stop playing with your food, big homie. Time to toe tag these niggas. And Sentry's like, why? I'm invincible and these niggas can't touch me. And Valentina's like, cause I said so. And Sentry's like, no. So yeah, they're having a little trouble in paradise. But before we get to that, Yelena crashes out on the team and has an emotional breakdown, which honestly they surprisingly handled pretty well. I would have crashed out right back on her. Then we cut back to Sentry and Valentina, and we start to see she having trouble keeping him on a leash. She about to get the Paragus Broly treatment. He's beginning to question the hierarchy of their relationship, and he decides he doesn't need Emperor Palpatine anymore. He's ready to knock her off the face of the map, but he would never get the chance because he gets unalive, and he drops to the floor like a sack of potatoes. Turns out Sentry had a kill switch embedded in him. So I guess she's more like Amanda Waller, and they're like the Suicide Squad? But anyway, her assistant had had the remote and she activated it before Valentina got turned into red mist, turned into ketchup sauce. Meanwhile, Yelena and her dad are patching things up, but it'd be short-lived because the Sentry would return, no longer tied to the lies of society, the lies of life, hope, ego, morality. None of that stuff matters. For years, these were bottled up inside Bob, restricted by some silly desire to be more, the desire to be a savior, the dreams of a pathetic man. But all that's gone now. All that died alongside Bob. Now all that's left is a void. Bob rises from death and returns as the void. He's ready to send these niggas to the shadow realm with just the raise of his hand. He's gonna send you into a void of your worst memories, where you truly realize how meaningless you are, how much you don't matter, that you are nothing, less than nothing. Man, who needs the anti-life equation when you got Bob here? But anyways, he starts encasing the entire city into darkness. No, literally, turning everything in the city into a black empty void, making everyone in the city see their worst memories. I can't lie, bro, this city can't catch a break. It might be worse than Gotham. Nah, it ain't worse than Gotham. But anyways, Yelena entered this void and faces her fears. The void thought that putting them through the worst memories would break them down, but he doesn't know why humanity falls. It's so we can learn to pick ourselves back up. When you hit rock bottom, there's nowhere left to go but up. Void thought that he could break them, and he did, but all he really did was help them build themselves back up, better and stronger than what they were before. Divided we fall, but united we stand. So the rest of the gang entered the void to try and free themselves, but while the rest of them have already overcome their fears and nightmares and worst memories, it's finally Bob's turn, as only Bob can stop the void. We see he has an abusive father who beats his wife, and his mom who blames him for every time his father would beat his mom. And then we finally see him at the location Yelena blew up at the start of the movie. He was in there, but not as himself, as the void. If they want any chance of leaving, Bob has to confront the void, and so he does. They about to have a 1v1 grudge map. Bob starts losing and the void is talking his shit. And somehow, Bob gets an anime rage boost and starts winning the fight. But the void is still winning, because it turns out giving into anger and rage and hatred, it's not the way to beat depression. The only way you can beat this void is by embracing your friends and embracing compassion. So after that's done, they group hug like it's a 90s sitcom or something, and they finally get released from the void onto the street. And guess who's the first person they see? All alone on the phone, that Orochimaru snake-ass bitch Valentina. So they're about to put belt to her ass, but she tricks them into walking into a press conference. Bro, this slimy ass little lady always have a way to get out, doesn't she? But anyways, at the press conference, they obviously can't box her, and they certainly can't box her now because she gives them the title of New Avengers. She declares them the New Avengers. So there's a lot of other scenes that happen after this, but that's mostly just to add to what we already have. So I think I'm gonna just end it here. That being said, leave a like if you enjoyed, leave a comment, maybe tell me what you didn't enjoy, and I hope you enjoyed the video, and if not, I hope you enjoy the next one. Oh, and also, go check out my gaming channel.